What's good, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Views and Verses. And on this episode, I will be talking about identity outside of family. And I have a guest speaker coming on to help me speak about this topic. I am very excited. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, I guess I want to start off by saying, has there ever been a moment where you realized that you lost touch with yourself or your identity after being married and having children?
Oh yes, absolutely. I remember a very specific time, a few years back. I had reached, the heaviest of my life. I was like 200 pounds, and I was just focused so much on my kids. I think around this time it was COVID. So I quit my job, actually. I quit my job and I was just, everything was my kids, my kids, my kids, my kids, my kids. And now I'm actually kind of coming out of that, which is very nice, which is why I'm happy to be here to talk to you um, about that. But no, it's hard. It was really hard. When you have children, your children almost become your whole entire personality. Like it, they are your personality. They're your offspring. So you go and you focus on them and you build them up and you develop them. And then, they get to a point where they don't need so much of that. And then you get to a point where you're looking at yourself like, well, dang, I put all this into them, everybody else, and then now that they're blossoming and they're going off and they're doing great, I'm standing here and it's like, what do I have for myself? What am I going to go off and blossom and do and be great with? So,
Yeah. I think for me, the moment I realized is, like I'm a writer. That's what I went to school for. I went to school for writing. And there was one day where I sat down, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't remember the last time I picked up a pencil. I don't remember the last time I even wrote or felt
mhm.
inspired to write anything. It's like I was so focused on like being the best mom that I could. And by the time I wanted time for myself, it's like 10, 11 o'clock. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I have nothing left to give myself. And the two older
Mhm.
ones, before we had the youngest, they would go off or, they spend the night with my mom and I'd be like, what in the world do I do? Like I felt
Mhm.
so lost. I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what to do without my children around. And one thing that my mom told me actually before I got married, she said, make sure that you don't lose yourself. Always make sure that you take time to do the things that you like, the things that you enjoy, because it's really easy to get so caught up in being a wife and being a mother. And then years pass and you realize you've done absolutely nothing for yourself. And it sounds like so easy to be like, oh, yeah, yeah, of course. And then, like that, it happens so quickly.
It does. It does happen quickly. It just sneaks up on you. One day you're out, you're doing this, you're involved in this, that, the third, and then next thing you know, you're at a Bluey concert. And you know, I say Bluey because I hear it all the time. My kids are older, but next thing you know,
Yes.
everything is like, okay, let's find this play group. Let's do this, or
Mhm.
this is best for the kids, or this that, and then. Like you said, you sit there in silence when you do have a moment and you don't know what to even do with yourself.
Yes. Um, have you ever felt guilty for wanting to do something that didn't involve your family?
No. I do not have both. I do not. No, I've never felt guilty. I don't share. A lot of women have that sentiment that that
Mhm.
mom guilt or that, the guilt away from being away from your family. Not me. I enjoy it. I do. I love them to pieces, but I put so much into my family that I don't, it's not on my mind when I'm not with them. I'm focused on me, what I want to do. Yeah, because for so many years, it was them, them, them. Mm-mm, mm-mm, no guilt, none. I enjoy it. Thank you. Invite me, please. They can stay home.
So funny. It's like sometimes, like even when like me and my husband want to go
Hmm.
out, like I'm
Yeah.
constantly checking my phone because I'm like, okay, is someone gonna text me? Like, are they okay? Are they okay? And he's like, babe,
Hmm.
they're fine. Okay, if it's an emergency, they will call you. But like even sometimes we're out, we're just like, okay, okay. But you know, I feel like after a certain time, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm fine. It takes a little bit. It takes, like
Yeah.
15, 20 minutes for me to be like, okay, I need this. This is for me. I don't always have to be around the children. And I think some of the guilt came in from when I would go places and people would be like, oh, where are the kids? I thought you were bringing the kids today. And I was like, okay, well, I just wanted to have one day where, I wasn't around my children, but it's okay. I think it
Yeah.
took some time, but I'm a lot better now than I was before, I think.
No, yeah, for sure. It does take time. I can count on one hand how many times we actually had a babysitter. I we don't I don't do babysitters personally. So it definitely was a big sacrifice. And Anthony, my husband, he rolls with the punches. He understands where I'm coming from when it comes to the children, and just my own personal experiences and traumas. So he's like, okay, whatever. But now our oldest, he's 13. He's gonna be 14 in November. So I know, right? Um, so he's kind of watching our 9, almost 10. He'll be 10 next week. Not even next week, in like 5 days. So he watches him for us, but we do remain aware that that is his time and he is still a kid. So we don't abuse it per se, but an hour, 2 hours here to go out, perfect. 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 So it's nice. Like you do sacrifice up front, being a mom and a wife, but I kind of well, how do I explain it? Like doing your bid. It's like doing a bid. Eventually, you find where you can have that self-expression as a woman to find who you are. You find those little pockets eventually, and it gets easier as they get older, but while they're younger, if you have like that chance to go and like do something for yourself, take it. Like the kids will be fine. They are resilient. I had to learn that myself. They are fine, though they're resilient regardless, if family's watching them, or my husband or your husband, they'll be fine. Go and find a hobby. you know? Go and explore. It's important to do that.
That's what my husband tells me all the time. He's like, you need to get out the house. You need to do something.
Hmm.
Like, you come home, you take care of the kids, you take care of the home. You need to do something for you. Like, I can tell, like, you're tired. Like, I'm here, and I think that's another thing is like growing up because I saw my mom do everything. I also feel that I have to do everything. And my husband's like, hello, I'm here. You don't have to do everything. And I feel like sometimes I overwhelm myself, and that also causes issues. So I'm learning to ask for help because I have an issue with that. But I'm getting there.
Yeah. That's where I'm at too. I do a lot, and I had a point where I was in physical therapy at the was it no, it was last year. Mid to end of last year, I was in physical therapy for my dominant hand, and it was because of overuse. So, overuse, and it was for doing a whole bunch of things, for everybody. And that was a wake up call for me. Even now, that was a big wake up call because I had to have steroid injections into my hand. I was back and forth, and it didn't feel good being sat down. So it just didn't feel good. I want to get up and I want to do things on my own term and I want to rest on my own term. But
Exactly.
these things happen, and you got to listen to your body. You got to listen to your body. I think moms, a lot of the times we push through and we don't listen to the signals that our body is naturally telling us.
Yes, definitely for sure. Because there was a time where I was stressing myself out so much, I started having heart palpitations, and I had to go to the
Oh,
doctor. They gave me an EKG. I had to wear this machine for like 48 hours, and they monitored my heart. And I remember I went in for a sonogram of my heart, and he looked at me. He said, "I cannot see stress on this monitor until it's too late." I can't see the effects until something bad happens. Your body is giving you signals right now that you are doing too much. And you need to take the time to listen to your body and to rest because stress is not healthy for you and it sneaks up on ways that you don't think you're getting overtired or you're out of breath. Like it's very small, subtle things, but I learned to pay attention to that because you know my family needs me, I need me, so I need to receive the help that is given to me and learn to just take time for myself because that is very important, and that's something that I think a lot of mothers don't do because especially with society, like they tell you like, okay, you're a mom, you knew what you were getting into, like this is what you signed up for, not realizing that you need a break too. Like parenthood is not easy. Like these kids sometimes, I love them dearly, but it's stressful sometimes. I wish we would
yeah.
understand that more.
Yeah. It's very stressful. And then, you add into all the other, you add in the kids, and then you add into the spouse aspect. It's a lot. It's a lot. And and you have to keep giving of yourself and giving of yourself. But at what point do you take for yourself? Like at what point do you do that? And and I don't know, I'm thankful that I did go through all those experiences so I can get to this point and I can say, "Hey, look." And then I can, mentor that down and say, "These are the signs." And I could tell you why these are the signs because I experienced them. And hopefully someone hears that and they're like, "Okay, babe, look, I need 2 hours on this day. You got the kids." And they get up and they go. Hopefully someone hears that message.
Yes. So do you feel that your sense of identity has changed or evolved over time since becoming a mother and a wife?
I I don't think it changed. I'm pretty much still my same step self in the, same essence, but I do think that it enriched what I wanted to do. I look at my children as legacies. So I have two branches of my legacy. So knowing that the way that I move and the things that I do, that's always going to be in my mind. I don't it's just one of those things as a mother, everything that you do, you want it to be for the good of your kids. That's how, I move, and that's why I get so involved into things because I'm thinking of my children, and there's other, obviously other things, but it it kind of merged together. It kind of merged together. I've always wanted to do things with children. I've always wanted to work with children, and I actually was blessed to where I was working with children, and my children was also coming to work with me. So I kind of had the best of both worlds,
Yeah.
if you will. And through that, I learned that I had enough of it. I kind of had enough of it.
Mm.
And from that experience, and then, my kids getting older, and now me getting out to getting a chance to really sit down with myself, I've learned that while yes, I like children, and I love child development. Now I'm back in school for human development. I want to do more. And so having children kind of helped evolve that, if you will, it helped evolve it. So yeah, I would say it. I don't know. I also tend to view things as a positive. Like how can we make this better? Like I don't want to feel like I'm stuck with a job. Like I'm just here to procreate and that's it. How am I going to take this and make it better? And having children actually did that for me. So I feel like I'm a little bit different than how most people would view it almost. But
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, so if being honest, me, I've always, I wouldn't say I struggle with my identity, but for me, for so long, I worried about what other people thought, and I was always worried about how they would perceive me. So after, getting married and having children, it was like I started to come more into my identity because I started to see myself in our children, especially our daughter. Like, she might look like him, but that is my child. And so seeing myself in her, it made me realize a lot of things, or I saw parts of myself that I didn't even realize, like seeing her creativity or, her confidence. Like, I was like, wow. It's like she has parts of me that, I gotta work on, but she also has some of the best parts of me. And it inspired me to be better. Like, it pushed me to be better. Because, I always had hopes, I always had dreams. But it's like, now that I know, like, I have little ones watching me, like, I have children watching me, and I want to show them that they can do anything they put their mind to. I want them to see how hard I work, and I want them to know that they can do it. So it definitely did, change in that aspect, but for the better. I procrastinate sometimes, knowing that I have
Yeah.
someone watching me and holding me accountable, because she will. I told her I wanted to exercise. I stopped. She's like, I thought you were exercising today. I thought that's what we were doing. Like, she will hold me accountable. She's watching. So I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and do that. But it was a great eye opener, and it definitely it helped me a lot to start to become the woman and the mother and person that I was supposed to be.
Yeah, those children, like you don't realize that they sometimes they give you a lot of personal development. Like they force you
Yes.
to get on top of this, mommy, because I need this. Like my oldest, he's like, okay, when's the eye appointment? When's this? When's this? Let me look in the calendar. When's this go? I'm like, okay, all right, I got it. I got it. I got it. I'm a little, undiagnosed ADHD, but I got it. They are holding me accountable. Lord
Yes.
forbid I tell them something and do not show up for them. So,
It will be an issue.
yeah, like when we were going to Disney World, I did not tell them until we were literally standing outside the resort. The whole way driving down there, we're going to Disney. We're going. I don't know because these kids they will hold you accountable. You tell them something, they want what you told them. So you have to be about that. So if you're telling them, you want to do this, you want that for them, sometimes you got to work on yourself in order to get that for them because they're going to be looking at you like what happened? Why is it not here?
Yes.
So, yes.
So how do you make time for yourself without feeling like you're taking away from your family? Because I hear a lot of, mothers especially, they do feel like that, like, oh, if I take, 15, 20 minutes, or if I take an hour, that's time that I could have, spent with the children. Like, so how do you make time for yourself without feeling like that?
So nowadays, I'll schedule it. I have a mental health day. I think like every 2 weeks or so, I have scheduled on my calendar, and I put I try to put a lot of social and emotional development into my children. So when I say, "Mommy needs an hour or two," they're like, "Okay." And they won't bother me for an hour. They really won't actually probably won't bother me for longer than that if I say I need a minute just because they're aware. They understand that I do so much for them and then they also understand that sometimes all that I do takes a toll on me. So my kids are I mean they're to their credit, they're actually really good about that. When they were younger, obviously that it was that was more so on it was more so on my husband to manage. Like, yes, I would be vocal and I would say, "Hey, look, I need a break." But it's that was up for him to enforce because, we're a partnership, and if you see that your partner is getting weighed down and they're still pushing on even though they need a break, that's for you to step in. And he did a lot of stepping in, and he did a lot of watching the kids. And then, I would go and I would go take a break. Or I remember when we lived in Colorado a few years, every Saturday, faithfully, I was at yoga every single Saturday, and he covered down. He covered down. And at that time, our younger one, he was going through like severe reflux. He was at the gastro. Like, it was a very busy time. I was working overtime. It was very stressful. So to that man's credit, love him down. He stepped in, and he helped me manage that time while they were younger. But now, while they are older and they are aware, my husband doesn't have to step in much. He might, hey, we leave your mom alone. Look at her. Come on now, y'all see it. And that's as much as it needs to do. But that's because we put in that extra work while they were younger. So now that they're older, I benefit from it greatly, greatly. Like, while we're sitting here recording this, my kid's actually right there, quiet, quiet, because I said, "Hey, I'm recording a podcast at this time." And they're like, "Okay, mommy, got it." Amen. A- Amen. The struggle up front for the benefits later down the line.
Great. And I think that's also important is, having that, that partnership and having someone that can see
Mhm.
when you're getting burnt down, be like, okay, yeah, let me step in. Because there's been times where like my husband will come out the room, he's like, are y'all stressing out your mama? I know you're not stressing out my
Hmm.
wife. Like
Right.
he will shut it down, like, come on, like, chill, chill. But
Hmm.
I think the other part is also on me that when I'm given that time, I need to
Yeah.
use that time for myself. And now
Hmm.
that we have the youngest, like that's the more difficult part. But thankfully the older two, they honestly they really step in. They are great siblings. Even like now they're like, oh, we can watch the baby, it's fine, like we can do it. And although that's not their responsibility, they do
Hmm.
understand. Like, the two older ones, they're busy now, they have their friends, they're playing their games, they're doing whatever, so they understand. But definitely having that partnership and having someone that understands and will take the reins when necessary, that is definitely helpful because not everyone has that type of support. So
Yeah.
it's great when you do have, someone who understands that and allows you to take that time for yourself because it's important. And the same with him. I'm like, you need to go out. You need to, take time for yourself as
Yes.
well. We both need time. You need time away from me and the kids. We need to work that out.
That's exactly what I told my husband. I said, everybody needs their own thing. Everybody needs something that's separate away from the main family. Like, with my oldest, like, earlier today when I had to, run real quick over to my shop, I took my youngest instead of leaving him here because I know that he probably just needed the space away from everybody. Everybody they need something. They need space, something, hobby, this, that, something away, away.
I remember this is actually a conversation I have with my mom as well, where I think we weren't even married yet. We were just together, and my mom was like, you need space away from him
Mm-hmm.
by yourself. You need your own friends, your own hobbies. It's great to want to be around someone, but you also need time to miss each other. And I
Yeah.
think that is very important because I love you dearly. I love you to the moon
Mm-hmm.
and back. But there's also times where I'm like, I'm glad that I have the 8 hours away. So, we have that space and we have that time. And I feel like even now, a lot with social media and relationships, there are a lot of people where it's like their whole purpose or identity is just around their spouse or their significant other or their family, and they don't have anything outside of that. So it's like you would be completely lost, you know, without the other person. And that's very important, like to have your own friends, your own hobbies. It doesn't mean that you love that person any less, but we all need space around each other. You have different likes, I have different likes. We can come together, but like that space and time away is definitely necessary.
Yes, it's so funny that you said you need or the personality part about like your spouse and everything. I experienced that so much in this military community. Like when you go and you try and introduce yourself to another spouse, right? They naturally want to start talking about, their husband's job and what is it, and what their husband does, this, that, and the third. And I very rarely will entertain any of that conversation until I get to know you and what do you like and what do you do. But in this particular community, it's so hard because it's so easy for your husband's rank or your husband's job or just the military in general to become your dominant personality. So I experience that so much on a daily basis that it's almost gets to a point where it's hard to make friends because I don't want to make friends based off of what my husband does, right? Like, I tell people what my husband does now, and then because now he's an officer versus being enlisted, and I was just like, okay. So I no, I am pro come with your own something, your own something. And one thing that I tell military spouses when I mentor down is have a hobby, have something outside of him. So when my husband, anytime that he left, for any kind of training or anything, the one thing I said was, I'm gonna learn something new. I'm gonna learn a hobby, or I'm gonna pick something up, something that's just learn something new, something for myself because it's filling that void. I know a lot of stuff now, honey, because he was always gone for for the 12 or so years. I know I could do a lot of different things. I could do a lot of different things. But that's great because, when I do need something for myself, I got a whole arsenal. I want to go craft today. Actually, no, I think I want to go do this today. So yeah, it have don't make your spouse your personality. Like don't. They are a piece of you, but they are not you. Be your
That,
own person.
yes, that is very important. Um, so for people who are going to listen to this, what is one small step that you would tell someone to help them reconnect with themselves or to reconnect with who they are as a person?
Do things. Just it I know it sounds so silly, but you just have to do things. I rode a horse other month. Like like I know it's so random, but just you have to do things. It gets exciting though. Like when you think about that you actually have free will, like that, what are you gonna do with your free will? What are you gonna do? Like just think of something and go and do it. And then if you don't like it, then you don't like it. Go do something else. Like it's so fun. I get excited to just do things. I went to the prairie too the other day and I saw the wolves and stuff. I love the wolves. I didn't even know that I like wolves. And now I changed my whole favorite animal to be a wolf at 33 years old. Go and go and do things.
And that's another thing. I think it's like we were so eager to become adults, and then you become an adult and you realize that you really can do whatever you want, whatever is in your means to do. You really can. It's just that you're the one that are putting the limitations on what it is that you can do, because the possibilities really are, they're endless
Mhm.
if you really want to do it. I think the important thing is not making excuses for it or not feeling bad for
Yeah.
wanting to do that. Because that's, yeah,
Hmm.
I need to do that. Because I told myself, I was like, you know what? Every
Yeah.
paycheck, I'm going to get myself something or I'm going to do something. And I have yet to do that. But I'm working on it. I'm getting it. Because my first instinct is, okay, what can I get for the house? What can I get for the children? And it
Yeah.
got to the point where, like, my mom will only get me gift cards to stores specifically for me, where I cannot get anything for the children. She's like, if I don't want you to spend this money, I better not see nothing for the kids, nothing for the house. This is for you, and you need to make sure that that's what you use it for. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm working for, doing things, taking the time
Yeah.
to do it. Because my mom will watch the kids. She'll tell me all the time, like, let me know. I'll take her for a few hours. Like, do what you need to do. And I need to take her up on that. Just, you know what? I need a day. Like you said, you have a mental health day schedule. That is awesome. And I,
Hmm.
I need to start doing that. Like, at least
Hmm.
twice a month, if starting off small. This day is for me, and then I'm gonna
Hmm.
take the time to do what I need to get out of the house, decompress, all that. I think that would probably make me like 10 times a better person if I actually did that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't get, I mean, I always kind of been like that. Like I knew that where I wanted to get to, but I didn't get to this kind of like level of contentment and like being able to kind of flow through the chaos until my 30s. So I'm like 3 years into this, you know, having you refinding myself and going back to school and getting involved into jobs that I've never, I mean, I've kind of done it before, but my whole job history has been teaching. It's always been teaching preschool. I'm doing nonprofit work now and I'm event planning and logistics and all this other crazy things that I'm doing that I've never done before, but I'm doing it, and I didn't get like that till now. And I wish that I took control of that probably in my mid 20s. I think I would be like one step away from taking over the world by now if I did that in my mid 20s. I would.
And I'm the same way. Honestly, it wasn't until like after I turned 30 where everything like started clicking. And I was like, why did
Hmm.
it take so long for this to happen? I mean, it's great that it's happening, but there's part of me that wished I would have thought about this like sooner. To think like how far I would be now if I would have started a little earlier. But I'm like, you know what? At least I'm starting. I'm figuring it out now, so it'll come. It'll come. But yeah.
Yeah, it will come. It will absolutely come. I don't know. 30s is just people talk so bad about the 30s, but I feel like for women, 30s is our prime. 30s is our prime. Like I feel absolutely amazing. I feel almost better than I did in my 20s, to be honest with you. Like I'm got adult money. I understand the nuances of the world now. My boundaries are firm. Like I could not be like this before. You know why?
Yes, I feel like this. I don't know what it is about. Like, it's like they make you feel afraid to turn 30. It's like, oh my God, I'm about to turn 30. But I
Yeah.
told my daughter the other day, I was like, I am in my prime right now. Okay, like this 30s it's good. Like, I'm figuring things out. I'm loving who I am. Like, this is great. I like this. I like it a lot. Like, again, I wish it would have happened, earlier. But
Yeah.
I'm liking it. I'm liking it definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah. So those were all the questions that I had. And I definitely appreciate you for taking
Hmm.
time out of your busy schedule to come together and reconnect because I have not seen you since high school. You know,
I know.
my brother is a grown man now.
I know. I know. It's been so long. I think the last time I saw him, he was like, what,
Yes.
4? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And now I think he'll be 21 next year. Just 21?
Stop
Yeah,
it.
something crazy like yes.
21?
Crazy.
Wow. That just that. Well, okay, now I feel my age now. I feel I feel it. That is so crazy. I have other kids that I've taught back in Maryland that's like graduating high school, and I'm like, oh my God. Then to hear he's turning 21, that's
That's
awesome. He
I
probably
know,
doesn't
right? You
even
think this
remember
is a bunch
me.
of kindergarten, and now you're like grown. This is oh Jesus.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I appreciate you for coming together, and we will definitely have to do this again. I just honestly like you really are. You're like an inspiration to me. Like I love you. Like you're, I mean, everybody has their issues, they do. But like I remember you were, posting the lunches and everything you did for the kids, and I was like, oh my gosh, listen, that's not me. I can try, but I have come to the realization that it's just not the type of mom I am. But I love it though.
Yeah, I make their lunch every morning, no matter how busy I get. One thing that I have said to myself was, even though I want things for myself, it will not be at the sacrifice of my children. It won't be. So that's one thing that I am so, so, so firm on. If my children have to sacrifice, I won't do it. I'll find some other way. One thing my dad used to say when he was alive, one thing he used to tell me was nothing is impossible. You have to figure out how. So that has stuck with me. So my kids, they still get school lunch made by me or their dad. One of us will get somebody's gonna cover down. But my kids are eating lunch from home. That is very important to me. So they eat lunch from home. My youngest is starting football back up, and I'm gonna be team mom this year, and Anthony's coming on to coach. So we're gonna be like a little coach dad team mom situation. So yeah, no, I no matter how busy I get, whatever I'm doing for myself, my kids will never ever suffer if I have something to say about it.
I love that.
Absolutely. Hmm.
That's great. That's amazing. Well, thank you again so much. Like I said, we definitely have to do this again. I think especially like as moms and everything, it's important to have, your own thing, talk to other people. And
Hmm.
it's nice to have someone that also goes through the same things that you go through. That way you don't feel like you're going crazy. You're not
Yeah.
in it by
Yeah.
yourself. Having someone that you can relate to and be like, you know what, I'm struggling with this. I'm going through this. It's nice to know that there's someone else that is going through the same thing that you're going through. It makes you feel like you're not alone, and it helps you to, move forward. So I definitely appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you gotta connect and you gotta talk about things. Most times nobody's ever alone. Most times
Yeah.
somebody has been there, somebody knows something, that can help you or offer something to you, but you won't ever know if you don't start the conversation. Yes, so, but I'm happy that you asked me to be here. Yeah.
Always good to see you, beautiful as always. And we will keep in touch, and we will definitely do this again soon. All right, y'all, that is all I have for today. I appreciate the love and support. Feel free to like, share, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, okay? Feel free to follow me on all social media platforms, and I also put the information for our special guest today in the description. Show her some love, okay? She's an amazing woman. I've known her since high school, okay? So, yes, I appreciate y'all, and I will be back at it soon. Peace, love, and happiness, y'all.